What roles do pelvic floor muscles play with vaginismus? Vagina lives between pelvic muscles, right? So if you think about it, vagina is like a tube going inside the body, and pelvic muscles are kind of all around it. When people have pain with penetration, 10 out of 10 times their pelvic muscles are excessively tight, or their pelvic muscles are having difficulty relaxing, and their pelvic muscles have a lot of tension. When people have pain, it causes muscles to go into a spasm. When muscles go into a spasm, they become tight. When people have tightness, they start to get pain. So it's a cycle that repeats itself and makes each other worse. Pelvic floor physical therapy is a very effective way to not only address the pain, the fear, but also the actual muscle tightness. Because when you normalize the pelvic muscles, they can stretch and yield, and that makes it so that there is space for penetration without pain. That's how vaginismus and pelvic muscles kind of play into each other.
Are there specific exercises that can help with vaginismus?
Specific exercises to help with vaginismus. Every person is individual, so your best bet is to get an individualized assessment to see what's going on. But generally speaking, you're going to need to find your why. Vaginismus is equal parts a physical problem and a psychological problem. So the first step is to figure out what are the different factors that are causing these symptoms for you, and that might require speaking to a medical doctor and ruling out some of the medical things. That might require talking to a therapist or a sex therapist to figure out where are we coming from around this anxiety with penetration. And it involves talking to a pelvic floor physical therapist to see how your muscles can help you resolve this pain. Like I said, every person is different, but to generalize what pelvic PT exercises help people with vaginismus, typically people with penetrative pain, meaning pain with sex or pain with any kind of penetration, tend to have pelvic muscles that are very tight and have a lot of tension. So exercises that allow you to relax your mind, exercises that allow you to open your pelvis by stretching your hips and your lower back, and exercises that allow you to release tension from your pelvic muscles so they can stretch and open up are the exercises that help vaginismus.
Can vaginismus, can vaginismus affect my relationship with my partner?
Can vaginismus affect your relationship with your partner? That is a very loaded question. And vaginismus, like most of the other problems that I treat, is a private problem. It's an intimate problem. It is a problem that is usually a secret. People with vaginismus don't often realize how common that problem is, right? Every patient that I treat feels like they're not normal. Every patient that I treat feels like they're somehow failing, or their body is failing them, right? They somehow feel like everyone seems to figure out sex, like, and here I am, a very smart, very overachieving, very accomplished individual, and why can't I figure this out? They're almost angry at their bodies. So yes, it affects relationship with yourself. Like, we'll talk about relationship with your partner, but something that intimate kind of messes with you in a way that your relationship with your own body starts to have friction, because you're kind of mad, you're kind of sad, and you're kind of feeling very alone, right? So if you're struggling with this, I want you to know it's a very common problem, and it's a very treatable problem, right? Worldwide, 1 out of 5 women have pain with sex. 1 out of 5, right? So if you have 5 girlfriends, 1 out of those 5 has this problem. This problem is more common if you're religious or you were raised in a conservative family, right? 2 times more likely. This problem is very common in South Asian women. So I'm from India, and while 1 out of 5 means 20%, for Indian women, the incidence of vaginismus is 64%. That is very high. And the factors are more cultural, more religious as to how we talk about sex and how we think about the purity culture. And that's outside the scope of this. But I share that to tell you that it is that common. And then the next question is, if it's that common, why haven't I heard about it? Right? Because it's hard to talk about. Would you tell a random person you have pain with sex? No. So why do you think your friends are going to tell you? We don't text our friends, yo, my vagina's broken. Like, it's not socially acceptable, right? That's what makes people feel alone. And then that makes this challenge harder because we don't have information. We don't have the words to understand or describe this problem to ourselves. So then that makes it even harder to talk about this with our partner. Not everyone is fortunate enough to be in a relationship that is safe. Not everyone has a partner that is wanting to work with them or is creating a safe space and is creating a relationship which is intimate in many ways. So depending on what is your comfort level, that's an additional barrier, right? So can vaginismus strain a relationship? It If it is straining your relationship, it requires taking a step back and understanding where is this stress coming from, and recognize it. Is it truly the lack of penetrative sex, or is lack of penetrative sex making some of the underlying problems just more visible? Either way, the answer is in individual therapy to figure this out for yourself, followed by relationship counseling, followed by sex therapy.